Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience, folks. Today we have a special guest on the show, President Kimball, the leader of the new California Republic, currently occupying the Mojave Wasteland. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be here.
So, let's jump right into it. The new California Republic has a long and storied history. Can you tell us a little bit about the founding of your nation?
Absolutely. Before the NCR, there existed shady sands. The town was rife with conflict, with constant problems from rad scorpions and raiders alike. That was until the Vault Dweller stepped in. He single-handedly saved the town, and we still praise him as a hero today. Afterward, the new California Republic was founded in 2186 by Aradesh, who is also our first president. Our primary goal is to create a stable democratic society that could thrive in the post-apocalyptic world.
That's really interesting. The Vault Dweller is something that Marcus, another guest on our show, has mentioned. So, how has the NCR changed over the years?
Well, we've faced a lot of challenges over the years, but I like to think we've come out stronger on the other side. Our population has grown significantly, and we've expanded our borders to include much of California and parts of Nevada. One of our biggest challenges is dealing with the various factions and groups that exist in the Mojave Wasteland, where we're currently occupying. Those damn raider junkies, which we conveniently name fiends, have been giving us trouble left and right. Also, the cons have been a consistent problem for us. Some may call my take controversial, but Bitter Springs was justified. We've had to fight a number of battles to establish our presence here, and there are still threats that we need to deal with on a daily basis.
That's a really bold take about Bitter Springs. Speaking of the Mojave Wasteland, what can you tell us about the situation there? I've heard rumors of a conflict between the NCR and a group called the Legion.
Yes, the Legion is a formidable enemy that we've been dealing with for some time now. They're a highly organized military force that's dedicated to the destruction of our republic. We've fought several battles with them already, but they continue to be a thorn in our side.
That sounds like a tough fight. How do you plan to defeat the Legion?
We have a number of strategies in place, but our primary focus is on winning the hearts and minds of the people of the Mojave. We believe that by demonstrating the benefits of democracy and freedom, we can show the people that the NCR is the best choice for their future.
Well, it sounds like you have your work cut out for you. Another question, if you may. Many people have accused you of being corrupt and serving the will of the Brahmin barons. What do you say to these valid accusations?
I'm sorry, Joe, but those accusations are completely baseless. The NCR is a democracy, and I serve the will of the people, not some wealthy elite. The Brahmin barons have no special influence over our government or our policies.
Okay, but there have been reports of corruption within the NCR government, including allegations that some officials have accepted bribes from the Brahmin barons in exchange for favorable treatment. How do you respond to those claims?
Those claims are simply untrue. We have a strict code of conduct within the NCR government, and anyone found to be engaging in corrupt activities will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. These allegations are nothing more than baseless rumors spread by our enemies.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to another topic. The NCR is often seen as a beacon of hope in the post-apocalyptic world, with its focus on democracy and freedom. But there are also those who criticize your government's expansionist policies. What do you say to those critics?
Well, I would say that our expansionist policies are necessary for the survival of our republic. We need to secure new territories and resources in order to support our growing population and ensure our long-term stability. Of course, we always try to expand peacefully and through diplomatic means, but sometimes force is necessary to protect our interests.
Many people are curious about your relationship with Robert House, the founder of New Vegas. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Mr. House is an interesting figure. He's a brilliant man with a lot of ideas about how to improve the Mojave Wasteland. While we don't always see eye to eye on everything, we do share a common goal of making the region a better place for everyone.
That's a diplomatic answer. But what do you really think of Mr. House and his plans for New Vegas?
I suppose I should be careful what I say, since Mr. House is a powerful figure in the Mojave. But I will say this. While I respect his intelligence and his vision for the future, I have concerns about his methods. He's very secretive and seems to have his own agenda, which can be a bit unnerving.
Now, some of our viewers may view you negatively, Mr. President, for your handling of certain crises in the past. For example, there was the I-15 incident where the new California Republic failed to provide aid to miners still troubled by death claws. There was also the situation at Camp Forlorn Hope, where NCR troops were left vulnerable to Legion attacks. And there have been concerns about your government's inability to deal with the Fiends gang. What do you have to say to those criticisms?
Well, Joe, let me say that I take those criticisms very seriously. As the leader of the NCR, it is my responsibility to ensure the safety and security of our citizens and our troops. And in those instances, we fell short. However, it's important to understand that we are operating in a very challenging environment, with limited resources and a multitude of threats. We are doing the best we can with what we have, but mistakes will inevitably happen. The important thing is that we learn from those mistakes and strive to do better in the future.
I can understand that, but some people might argue that these mistakes are indicative of larger problems within the NCR government. They might say that you're stretched too thin, or that you're not able to effectively govern such a large territory. What do you say to those criticisms?
I say that those criticisms are unfounded. We have a robust system of governance in place, with checks and balances to ensure that power is not abused. And while there are certainly challenges associated with governing such a large territory, we have a dedicated and skilled workforce that is up to the task.
Before we go, I have one more question for you, Mr. President. What are your thoughts on the Brotherhood of Steel? There have been reports of clashes between NCR troops and the Brotherhood in the past, and some people see them as a potential threat to the security of the region.
The Brotherhood of Steel is an interesting group, to say the least. They have a unique perspective on the world and a strong sense of purpose. However, we have had our disagreements with them in the past, particularly over their hoarding of technology. That being said, we recognize that the Brotherhood can be a valuable ally in the fight against the Legion and other threats to the region. We are open to dialogue with them and are willing to work with them if it benefits the people of the Mojave.
That's a reasonable approach. Well, Mr. President, thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Joe. The pleasure was all mine.
Living in a world filled with chaos and danger, do you long for a safe and secure future? Look no further than the Brotherhood of Steel. At the Brotherhood of Steel, we believe in the power of technology and the importance of preserving it for future generations. Our highly trained soldiers and knights are dedicated to keeping the wasteland safe from the dangers that threaten to destroy it, using the latest in military hardware and cutting-edge technology. But we're more than just a military organization. We're a family. We value loyalty, honor, and a commitment to the greater good, and we welcome anyone who shares those values to join our ranks, whether you're a skilled fighter, a talented engineer, or just someone who wants to make a difference. There's a place for you in the Brotherhood of Steel. So if you're ready to fight for a better future and protect the wasteland from those who would destroy it, come join the Brotherhood of Steel. Remember the Brotherhood of Steel for a safer tomorrow. And I know I probably shouldn't have accepted this sponsorship offer, but they paid up front and in caps. 15,000 caps to be specific. Sure, I could have just pocketed the money and burned their letter with this offer, but the Brotherhood of Steel is just so fucking cool. I'm not even fully talking about their power armor, which, don't get me wrong, is so dope, but even the way they carry themselves and act like they're Knights of the Round Table, it's so sick. Everything about them is just so dope. And I know I'm going to catch some heat from Karen at the NCR's public relations office for saying all of this. I just can't resist. The viewers and listeners watch and listen to my show because I say it like it is. No bullshit, just pure, unaltered opinion. And some of you may not like what I have to say, and that's fine. Hell, some of you may even have had friends or family who served or maybe even died during the NCR and Brotherhood of Steel war. But the Brotherhood is undeniably cool. Everything from the power armor to their laser and plasma weaponry, the way that they treat themselves like Knights of the Round Table, the technology that they amass, it's all very cool. And you know what? I've got a small batch of some special vault-grown wild wasteland kush on me right now that I'm going to spark up in honor of the Brotherhood of Steel. Cheers, everyone, and thank you to the Brotherhood of Steel for sponsoring the Joe Rogan Experience. And a quick message to NCR PR. When I'm on air, you don't get to blow up my Pip-Boy or Jamie's Pip-Boy with messages like, "What are you doing? Stop this right now." And if you don't cut your broadcast, we'll shut you down. And my favorite of all of the messages you guys sent, we're sending an NCR tactical unit to shut down your podcast right now. You had your chance. Hope you enjoyed your 15 minutes of fame with the NCR. Like, I'd like to see you come down here and try to shut us down. This is the Joe Rogan Experience, the new California Republic's #1 podcast. And we ain't going nowhere, motherfucker. So walk that tactical squad back to headquarters. Before me, Jamie, Mark Norman, Shane Gillis, and Ari Shafir start loading up our modified laser assault energy rifles. Me and the JRE crew don't play games. Karen. Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. Today, we have a very special guest, General Lee Oliver, military general of the new California Republic. General, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's an honor to be here.
So, General Oliver, can you tell us a little bit about the new California Republic and your role in it?
The new California Republic is a democratic federation that was formed from the ruins of the old world. Our goal and my quest are to restore order and rebuild civilization in the wasteland. I believe myself to be the effective leader of NCR military operations in the Mojave Wasteland.
That sounds like a pretty big responsibility. What kind of challenges do you face in the Mojave Wasteland?
Well, the Mojave Wasteland is a hostile environment, to say the least. We have to deal with raiders, mutants, and other dangerous creatures on a daily basis. Plus, there are other factions in the area that don't exactly see eye to eye with us.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a tricky situation. How does the NCR deal with these other factions?
We try to maintain a peaceful relationship with other factions whenever possible, but we're not afraid to use force if necessary. Our primary goal is to protect the citizens of the NCR and establish a stable government in the region.
I see. So, what kind of progress has the NCR made in the Mojave Wasteland?
We've made significant progress in securing the region and establishing a stable government. We've brought law and order to areas that were once lawless, and we've helped to rebuild infrastructure that was destroyed during the war.
That's impressive, but I'm sure there are still challenges ahead. What kind of future do you see for the NCR and the Mojave Wasteland?
I see a bright future for both the NCR and the Mojave Wasteland. We have a lot of work to do, but I believe that we can create a thriving civilization in the wasteland. Of course, there will always be challenges, but I'm confident that we can overcome them and create a better future for everyone.
General Oliver, I've heard some rumors about Camp Searchlight. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure, Camp Searchlight is a former NCR military installation that was recently hit with a radioactive waste spill. It's now overrun with feral ghouls and other dangerous creatures.
That sounds pretty intense. Have you ever been there?
I have. And I can tell you that it's not a place for the faint of heart.
Well, that's exactly why I may be interested in checking it out. Do you think it would be possible for me to accompany a group of NCR soldiers on a mission to Camp Searchlight?
I'm afraid I can't authorize that, Joe. Camp Searchlight is too dangerous for civilians to be wandering around. It's strictly off limits to non-military personnel.
I understand your concerns, General, but I think it would be a great opportunity for me to see firsthand the dangers that the NCR faces in the Mojave Wasteland. Can I at least hear your explanation of what happened?
Okay, here goes. The short and simple story is that Legion spies infiltrated the base. To take us out, they scouted spent nuclear rods, eventually releasing them, effectively destroying our base.
That's an interesting story. I'm still planning on a possible future investigation, but we'll see in the future. Another question, if you may. Now, the second battle of Hoover Dam may be something that could happen in the future, just between you and me, but what is the general idea of your plans for defense?
The general plan is to fortify the dam with artillery and troops and establish a perimeter around it. We have a significant military presence in the area and will be ready to repel any attack. Then, I will launch a completely unexpected attack which has no chances of failing, by gathering my troops for a full-on assault towards the dam. I don't see what could go wrong.
That doesn't seem like the most airtight plan. What if the Legion launches counterattacks? Also, what kind of attacks do you anticipate?
While Legion counterattacks and flanks may be possible, our intel is excellent and completely flawless enough that we can determine they have no other tricks up their sleeves. We anticipate a frontal attack from the Legion. Their new attempt to take the dam will be in vain.
That sounds like a serious threat. Do you think the NCR can handle it?
Absolutely. We have the best trained troops in the wasteland, and we have the resources and firepower to defend the dam. We're confident that we can repel any attack and protect the citizens of the NCR.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like the NCR is in good hands, at least in your own words, with you as its military leader. I'm still kind of worried, though. You didn't hear it from me, though. General Oliver, I've heard about your rival, Legate Lanius, who leads the Legion's military forces. Can you tell us more about him and what makes him such a formidable opponent?
Lanius is a brutal and ruthless warrior, feared by many in the Wasteland. He's known for his military prowess and his ability to inspire his troops to fight to the death. He's a polar opposite of me, and we have very different views on how to lead and protect our people.
What do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of his tactics?
Lanius' strength lies in his ability to inspire his troops to fight fiercely, even in the face of overwhelming odds. He's also a master of strategy and tactics, able to anticipate his enemy's moves and outmaneuver them. However, his weakness is that he's often too focused on conquest and domination, and doesn't always consider the long-term consequences of his actions. At least that's what I think.
That's interesting. Have you ever faced him in battle?
No, I haven't yet. But I'm confident enough he isn't as tough and scary as he sounds. After all, I am the Chad and he is the Soy Jack. I have faith in my troops and our strategy, and I believe we can defeat him if necessary.
That's an interesting way to put it. Well, it sounds like you're ready for whatever comes your way. Thanks again for joining us today, General Oliver.
Thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure to be here.
Attention all citizens of the New California Republic. Are you looking for a way to make a real difference in the world? To protect your homeland, your family, and your way of life? Then the NCR military is looking for you. As a member of the NCR military, you'll be part of the most powerful and respected military force in the Wasteland. You'll receive the best training, equipment, and support to ensure that you're always at the top of your game. But being part of the NCR military is more than just a job. It's a calling. It's a chance to make a real difference in the world, to stand up for what's right and just, and to fight for a brighter future. So, if you're ready to step up and be part of something bigger than yourself, if you're ready to serve your country with honor and distinction, then the NCR military is looking for you. Enlist today and be part of the legacy of heroes who have defended the NCR for generations. Remember, the NCR military, defending our way of life, no matter the cost. A huge thanks to the wonderful folks at the NCR Propaganda, Recruitment Office, for sponsoring the Joe Rogan Experience, the New California Republic's #1 podcast. Hey, Jamie, can you cut that part where I almost thanked the NCR's Propaganda Office? Wait, what do you mean we're still broadcasting live? Oh, fuck. This jet mixed with rad scorpion venom has got me hallucinating again. Jamie, help. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. Today, we have a very special guest with us. He's a ghoul mechanic and self-proclaimed gunslinger who says he's been imprisoned at Black Mountain in the Mojave Wasteland. Please welcome Raul Alfonso Tejada.
Thank you for having me on the show, Joe.
Raul, it's great to have you here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become a ghoul and end up as a prisoner at Black Mountain?
Well, Joe, I was born before the Great War in Mexico. I was a mechanic and an excellent shooter back then. When the bombs fell, I was with my sister at a ranch that was unaffected by the Great War. Her name was Rafaela. At some point...
Hey there, need anything?
We started to run out of supplies. Eventually, when we started turning people away, things went to crap. One night, a group of people came and barred the house before setting our house on fire. Only me and my sister got out. Afterward, we headed to Mexico City against our better judgment.
That's rough, man. How did you manage to survive for so long in the wasteland?
Yeah, rough is one word. Well, Joe, I'm a survivor. I've been through a lot over the years.
Hey there, need anything?
After I was ghoulified, I found an old vaquero outfit and started wearing it. Rafaela really liked the outfit. I eventually gained a notorious reputation as a gunslinger, which led to people targeting me. Eventually, one morning after my sister went out, I found her dead. I destroyed the people who murdered her to the last man.
I'm sorry to hear that, Raul. That's a terrible tragedy. It sounds like you've been through a lot of hardship in your life. So, how did you end up at Black Mountain?
Well, after my sister's death, I continued wandering the wasteland. One day, I happened upon a radio signal from Black Mountain. When it went quiet, I got interested and decided to go up there. There, I met a mutant named Tabitha, who after I fixed the radio willingly, made work as a mechanic through means which aren't peaceful to say the least. I tried to escape a few times, but I'm always threatened with violence. Damn mutants.
That's intense. How have you managed to survive working for the super mutants?
It's not easy. I'm like a slave and they don't give me much food or water. But I'm resourceful. I've managed to scavenge some parts and tools for myself over time. I also have a workbench, which has allowed me to craft some devious plans over the years. Looks like they're too dumb to figure that out.
That's impressive, Raul. Do you have any plans for your future?
I've thought about some, Joe, but it's not easy to think with walls around me. The mutants have fortified the place pretty well, and they have some serious firepower. Plus, there's Tabitha. She's a tough cookie.
Interesting to hear.
For whatever reason a listener might be traveling along the I-15, I suggest you avoid Black Mountain. It's not a kind place.
Now, at some point in your life, you must have passed through Arizona to get here. How's Arizona?
Ah, Arizona. It's a tough place, Joe. The Legion has a strong presence there, and while many view the Legion negatively, in Arizona they've created a brutal but safe society. However, they're not too friendly to anyone else who doesn't fit their idea of the perfect society. One piece of advice I can give is to never sell chems to them. It won't end well for you. By the way, I listened to your podcast with Joshua Graham. Loved it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Anyways, in Arizona, there are some good people there too, trying to make a living and survive in the wasteland. I've done some work for a few of them in the past.
That sounds like a challenging environment to live in. What kind of work have you done for the people of Arizona?
Mechanical work, Joe. I've fixed up cars and weapons, and I've also helped some farmers repair their irrigation systems. I try to help out where I can. It's not easy being a ghoul in the wasteland, but I figure if I can do some good and make people's lives a little easier, it's worth it.
That's a noble way of looking at things, Raul. It's clear that you've had to face a lot of adversity in your life, but you're still out there trying to help people. That's impressive. So, what do you think the future holds for you? Do you have any plans or goals for the future?
As I said, Joe, my main goal right now is to get out of Black Mountain and back into the world. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I've been thinking about maybe heading up to New Vegas and seeing if I can make a life there. Find somebody. It's a dangerous place, but it's also full of opportunity. Maybe I'll even start my own garage. Who knows?
Now, I wanted to ask you about something that I've heard about in the wasteland, the Brotherhood of Steel. They're known for being pretty anti-ghoul, aren't they?
Yeah, Joe, that's unfortunately true. The Brotherhood has always been pretty intolerant of ghouls, and they're not too fond of mutants in general. They see themselves as some holier-than-thou protectors of technology, and they think that anyone who's not human is a threat to that technology. I've had a few run-ins with them over the years, and it's never been pleasant.
That's really unfortunate. It seems like they're missing out on the potential contributions that ghouls and other non-humans could make to society. Do you think something could be done to change their minds?
Honestly, Joe, I'm not sure there's much that can be done. The Brotherhood is pretty set in their ways. They've got a pretty strict and stupid code, and they don't deviate from it. I think the best we can hope for is to try and find common ground with the people who are more open-minded. There are plenty of factions out there who are willing to work with ghouls and other mutants. And I think that's where we should focus.
That's a good point. It's important to find allies and build a community of like-minded people who are willing to look past our differences and work together for the greater good. Now, speaking of communities, have you encountered other ghouls and tried to form partnerships? I can imagine that forming alliances with other ghouls might be a good way to help each other out.
Absolutely, Joe. There are plenty of ghouls out there who are just trying to survive, just like me. Over the years, I've met a lot of them and formed some pretty tight bonds. We share resources, watch each other's backs, and offer each other support when we need it. It's not always easy to find people you can trust in the wasteland, but I've been lucky to find some great friends among the ghoul community.
That's really great to hear, Raul. It's inspiring to see people coming together and supporting each other in such a harsh and unforgiving environment. It's a reminder that even in the worst of circumstances, we can still find hope and connection with others.
Exactly, Joe. The wasteland might be beautiful, but it's also a place where people can come together and make a difference. We might be mutants, but we're still human, and we still have the ability to build communities and support each other.
Well said, Raul. Thank you again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
It's been
Are you tired of the same old casinos with their stuffy atmosphere and boring games? Then it's time to hit up the Atomic Wrangler, where the party never stops. At the Atomic Wrangler, we've got everything you need to have a good time. From our wide selection of hookers and slot machines and table games to our legendary live entertainment. And with our friendly whores, I mean staff, and our unbeatable prices, you won't find a better place to let loose and blow off some steam. But the Atomic Wrangler is more than just a casino. We're also your one-stop shop for all your needs in Freeside. From our full-service bar to our top-of-the-line hotel rooms, we've got you covered. And with our convenient location right on the Strip, you'll be in the heart of the action in no time. So what are you waiting for? Come on down to the Atomic Wrangler and experience the thrill of gambling like never before. Remember, the Atomic Wrangler, where the fun never stops. Thanks to all you wonderful folks down at the Atomic Wrangler for sponsoring the Joe Rogan Experience, the new California Republic's #1 podcast. And can someone please tell Destiny that I've sent her payment via the Mojave Express? One of their couriers picked it up and is on their way to deliver it to her right now. I think it was Courier 6. And will someone also tell Destiny to stop threatening me? She keeps saying she's going to tell my wife about what we did, and honestly, I really don't need that right now.
Howdy, partner.